to this beautiful family, the Evans family, my family, to our officiant, Pastor Charles Jenkins, who I believe deserves a rousing round of applause for his leadership, his courage, his tenacity, and his humility. Help me thank God for our leader. To all of our distinguished program participants and to my fellowship family, to guest friends, those viewing live, good morning. As I reflect on the life of Reverend Clay Evans, I think of the words of Howard Washington Thurman. Thurman suggests, don't ask what the world needs. Instead, ask what makes you come alive. And go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And I think that's what made Reverend Evans so enchanting and so appealing and so mesmerizing. I think that was the secret sauce to his success and his swag. Reverend Evans found what made him come alive. And he did it so well that the world couldn't stop watching him. He just wasn't living, he was alive. When he was singing, he was alive. When he was preaching, he was alive. When he was firing musicians in the middle of church service, he was alive. When he was guiding and advising ministers, mayors, and presidents, he was alive. When he took a stand against racism, sexism, denominationalism, and classism, he was alive. As a matter of fact, the real question we all ought to ask is, are we just living or are we alive? And because of Reverend Evans' inimitable impact on this city and his inestimable contributions to the Christian church and all faith traditions, I am humbled and honored to stand in the pastoral lineage of the Reverend Dr. Clay Evans to serve as the next pastor of the historic and vibrant Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church on 45th Place and Princeton Avenue. At the end of this year, I will receive the highest honor of my life, and that will be to succeed two legends and two giants in the person of Reverend Evans and Pastor Charles Jenkins. And with the help of God, I should let somebody know this ship ain't gonna sink. In the words of Reverend Evans, we're going full speed ahead. God told Moses, when you go to the people, tell them that you're representing the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But God told me, when I walk into any room, tell the people that I represent the God of Clay Evans and I represent the God of Charles Jenkins, and that God has provided and will provide. That God has blessed and will bless. That God has opened doors and will open doors. That God has done the impossible and will do the impossible, because that God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Auntie Claudette told Bree and I just a few days ago that Reverend Evans was known for keeping a checklist. He had a black book, and whenever he would pull it out, the children would get nervous because he wasn't going to finish with them until he checked off everything on his list. He would write it down and then he would check it off. Well, I never saw his checklist, but as I reached closer to this day, and as he reached to the end of his life, I believe that his checklist, Auntie Claudette, looked something like this: accepted Jesus Christ, check. Loved and supported my family, check. Poured my life into fellowship, check. Selected an incredible successor named Charles Jenkins, check. Stood up for justice, check. Tried to love everybody, check. Tried to treat people right, check. Make sure the Sharpes and the ships would keep on sailing, check. Make sure my wife and family would be okay, check. But there was one more box he couldn't check off, because that one said, well done, thou good and faithful servant. And last Wednesday, God had to check that one off. And when God checked off that box, God said, all these years you've been on the ship, but there's one more ship you ain't been on yet. And he led Reverend Evans by the hand and said, get ready to get on board this, the old